The child support calculation that was giving her so much child support had her income at $15,000 per year. When we recalculated child support, the child support was at $50,000 per year for Ms. Chilton's income. And that was what it was recalculated on. Client's kind of stuck where he's overpaid child support for years, essentially.
I was not trying to be deceiving in any way.
An intelligent woman. She knows how child support works. The child support calculation that was giving her so much child support had her income at $15,000 per year. When we recalculated child support, the child support was at $50,000 per year for Ms. Chilton's income. And that was what it was recalculated on. And I think what we need to do is we probably need an order from this court with how this is supposed to get paid so that if he does need to, he can pursue collection action.
In the state of Michigan, the income of both parties is considered when calculating child support. The mom is submitting a lower income of $15,000 instead of $50,000 per year, which will grant her more child support.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Chilton, what's your response?
Good morning. At the time when this was calculated, as I presented to the court, I was only working part-time, and the order was based on that part-time work ending in that summer of June or whenever that school year ended. And again, as I put in my answer, that I was not going to be working over the summer because I was going to school. And then once I went back to work in August, which I did have a full-time job at that time, that is when I submitted the documentation to the child support court that I was in fact earning more money. So I did submit documentation. I didn't understate any income. We had to submit documentation to the court at that time to prove my income at that time.
She knew she was being overpaid. Why didn't she say something? She was greedy. I think this is the real reason she took time off from her part-time job.
And so I don't feel like it is at my fault that that the child support stayed in that way. Once I submitted documentation to the court of my full-time employment, it had not changed, so I took it back to the court. I submitted it twice, as you will see in the documentation and supporting evidence that I did submit this documentation to the court twice. So I submitted, I did everything that I knew to do. I was not trying to be deceiving in any way.
Well, in this particular case, I'm not going to address the issue of the amount of support because that was changed and it's already been resolved. I understand the arguments, but it would be inequitable to charge the plaintiff an amount, and again, it would, in essence, have him paying over $7,000 that he should not have had to have paid had it been calculated at that correct amount at that particular time.
Whether she submitted documentation or not, he overpaid through no fault of his own. She needs to pay the man back.
So the court is going to grant the motion for the repayment. Ms. Greenlee-Core, what I'm going to do is order that the amount of $6,891 would be repaid over the same term that it was collected. So if it was collected over, I think you said over 12 months, then that would be repaid over 12 months. If it was longer, I just don't know based upon the pleadings that are filed over what time that was collected. So I'll simply order that you can figure it out when it was collected and then have the repayment over the same term.
Your Honor, so just to clarify, dating back, so the court backdated support to March of 2022. Are you saying March of 2022 to today would be the repayment period?
No, I'm saying the time that he paid the overpayment, that the repayment would be over the same term. So if it was 12 months, if it was 18 months, I don't know from the time that he began paying that $764 and the time that it changed to the 34. So it would just be repaid over the term that it was paid.
Okay.
This sounds like a fair solution to me. She knew there was a huge error in the child support calculation. Now, she will have to pay.
And equal monthly installments, Your Honor?
Yes.
And then, no, we also made a request for attorney fees in this case. Is that,
I'm not going to award attorney fees in this case.
Okay.
It sounds like there were enough issues and problems in the case to go along. I don't hold anybody responsible for that.
She should be paying for the attorney fees since it was her error.
Hang up. Why the would you break up with that man for?
Because I'm not happy. I clearly just told him that I'm with who I want to be with.
But we wasn't supposed to be together, G. We were just around, G.
My husband no longer cares about me. Okay, so this morning when I woke up in a really bad mood. And I wanted to talk to him about it. So when he asked me the first time, he said, "What's wrong with you? You're acting like you're in a bad mood or something." I said, "No, I'm fine." Okay, so then he asks again. He was like, "No, I can tell something's wrong with you. What's going on? Is there something wrong?" And I said, "No, I'm fine." And then he never asked me again. He never asked again. And what really hurts the most is that I was going to tell him on that third time. I was going to tell him the third time that he asked. And then he just must not care. He must not give a single shit what's wrong with me because he didn't ask for the third time. He did not persist with the questions. He asked twice.
Hey, just tell him the first time, okay? Just tell him the first time, and you'll be good. You know what I mean?
Sadly, this behavior is common. Good luck to the men that have to deal with this.
Are walking away from dating and marriage, and it's really interesting to see how women are responding to it. And instead of looking in the mirror and acknowledging to themselves that they may be part of the problem, they're saying things like this.
Men can't believe that women are single by choice because men are never single by choice. Same as celibacy, men are never celibates by choice.
So let's break this down. First thing she says is that men can't believe that women are single by choice. Let me assure you, we not only believe it, we know it as a fact. And the majority of the women who are single by choice, it's because they've listened to other women who are also single, usually not by choice. The ones who are sad, bitter, and lonely, and frankly, miserable, and, well, as they say, misery loves company. So these women are running around making videos and talking it up how they're so happy being single, when the reality says anything different.
Women are sometimes their own worst enemy. Women are constantly judging, belittling, and in competition with each other. Single women are keeping other women single for this exact reason.
Again, this is what women are telling themselves because they don't want to face the reality that men are rejecting them. And it's better to say that men aren't choosing to be celibate, that women are forcing it on them, because it makes them feel better and avoid having to face the reality that it's them that are being rejected, that it's men who are indeed walking away. I actually feel bad for women that they've reached this point where they're so divested in reality that they resort to things like this, that they somehow think it makes things better to say things like this, that somehow men are going to suddenly wake up and be attracted to them because women have hurled insults and demeaned them for years now, when the reality is the exact opposite. Men are saying, we're done, ladies. We're not going to deal with your negativity. We're not going to deal with your toxicity. And the more you double down on it, the more men are walking away. It truly makes me sad that women have reached this point, and the honest truth is they're only going to end up more miserable in the long run, which is the actual goal of many of the women who are perpetuating these myths.
It's exactly as he says. Misery loves company.
Because they can't get a man. They know they can't get a man, and they know they never will. It's why they deride the women who have happy, successful relationships as pick-me's, because they know no one, and I do mean no one, is ever going to pick them. But rather than acknowledge their flaws and do something about them, they feel it's better to just go on the attack. Because again, they think it makes them strong and independent. When the reality is, it just ends up with them being alone.
If you enjoyed this video, you'll also enjoy this one. See you there.